Hey everybody, welcome back to the screencast. Today's topic is sleep, and we will get there in just a minute. This video will go over almost everything in the sleep unit. First, a joke. I saw this bumper sticker. It said, "Dear Sleep, I'm sorry we broke up this morning. I want you back." I thought it was funny. At any rate, okay, what are we going to talk about sleep? The first thing we need to know is, why do we sleep? And here's why we sleep. It protects us from predators. Those our ancestors had to worry about that. It helps us recover our brain tissue repair. Helps us remember. We do a lot of memory consolidation while we sleep. And it probably plays a role in the growth process. Those are the theories of why we sleep. And we know some of those things because we know what happens when you are deprived of sleep. You get tired, and if you are deprived for too long, it will kill you. Week, couple weeks, 3 weeks. It impairs your concentration. You're more irritable when you're tired. Your immune system is depressed, and you have greater vulnerability to getting sick. Okay, so our body goes on this daily rhythm called the circadian rhythm. Every 24 hours, we tend to get tired at the same time each night. We tend to wake up at the same time each morning. We tend to have energy for a while, and then after lunch, our energy decreases a little bit. So there's a normal biological rhythm to our wakefulness cycle. That's called the circadian rhythm. What about when we're sleeping? What happens? Here's a look at what happens. If you look at this graph over here, the bottom is hours that we're asleep. So in the first hour we're asleep, we start up here in wakefulness. We start at stage 1 sleep, then we go down to stage 2 sleep, down to stage 3 sleep, down to stage 4, and then we come back up and we go back down. And so an up and down cycle takes about an hour. So you can see that process. Now, as we come back up to stage 1, once we're in the night, we don't actually go to stage 1 sleep anymore. We go to REM sleep. And I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. How do we study sleep? When you do a sleep study, you get wires hooked up to your head, and they measure different things. They'll measure eye movement, muscles on your chin and your throat, and the ones on top of your head will measure brain waves. In stage 1 sleep, what do we do? It's light sleep. You can be waken up very easily. We have slow waves in our brain called theta waves. And so you can see the theta waves there. In stage 2, we have these sleep spindles, which are bursts of brain activity. Stage 3 and 4, we get into deep sleep. Stage 3 is kind of a transition stage. We have these bigger delta waves. This is our brain activity. And you can see they're really big and well-defined in stage 4. So this is when you're in the deepest sleep. It's very hard to wake someone up when they're in stage 4 sleep. And so that is what is going on there. The final stage of sleep is called REM sleep. When we go back up in our cycle, we have fast, regular beta waves. Our brain is like it's very similar to when we're awake. So REM sleep is sometimes called paradoxical sleep because we're asleep, but our brain looks like it's awake. Our eyes move rapidly in this stage, and you can see what that looks like right here. On the eye movement phase. REM sleep is also when we do most of our dreaming occurs during this stage. What are some of the sleep disorders people have? One is insomnia. That's the inability to fall asleep. That's a real problem because you just become exhausted if this happens for several days in a row. Another sleep disorder is called narcolepsy. The powerful urge to fall asleep that may occur while talking or standing up. So that would be a sleep attack. As you may recall, I told you about how I have that. There's also something called cataplaxy, which is when your body, all your muscles become really relaxed. Relaxed in a bad way, relaxed to the point that you can't stand up or can't keep your head upright. Another one is called sleep apnea. This is when you have trouble breathing in the night. The soft tissue in your neck collapses inward and closes off your airway, and your body wakes up just for a split second. You take a breath, you fall back asleep, and then it can happen again. So you might wake up 50 times, 100 times in a night. They're micro awakenings, so you don't even know it's happening. Children, what about children's sleep disorders? They have night terrors, sleepwalking, and sleep talking. The night terrors are when you wake up and you're screaming. It could last 10 or 15 minutes. The child isn't really awake. They don't know what's going on. They might not even remember it. They would just wake up, scream for 10 minutes, go back to sleep. Could last 20 minutes. It happened to my son. He had sleep night terrors when he was like 4, 5, 6 years old. It's pretty disturbing to see someone having night terrors. Okay, another interesting thing is dreams, and people want to know, why do we have dreams? What are dreams about? Sigmund Freud had a theory that dreams had meaning and they revealed the unconscious mind. And he thought there was 2 types of things going on in a dream. There was latent content and manifest content. Manifest content is what was actually happening, like you're walking through the forest and there's an alligator. But then the latent content was the symbolic meaning of the forest. The forest meant one thing and the alligator symbolized something else. So Freud would interpret dreams to try to understand our unconscious. Modern psychologists still use dreams to get some insight into the unconscious, but they don't quite rely on it the way that Freud did, or most of them do not. Information processing is a second theory about dreams. This is the idea that our mind is sifting, sorting information, and creating memories out of it. Another theory is there's a physiological function that our brain is provided as having this stimulation to develop and preserve our neural pathways. You see this in newborns. They sleep a lot, and the thought is maybe that's because their neural networks in their brain are so busy forming. They're learning so much. The activation synthesis theory suggests that the brain engages in a lot of random neural activity. So dreams, let me back up. The activation synthesis theory is the idea that dreams don't have any meaning in our unconscious, that they're just random bursts of energy and neural activity in our brain. And our dreams, we try to weave, like our conscious mind tries to weave some meaning into these random bursts of energy, but really there's no meaning. And if you think about your dreams and how 1 minute you're doing one thing and then it jumps and you're doing something else and then something else and they don't really connect, the activation synthesis is explaining that. Finally, the 5th theory is the cognitive development theory. Some researchers think that it's just our brain maturing, and cognitive development is happening when we're dreaming. Just want to say again, we do a lot of our dreaming in REM sleep. So that's something to remember. Here's a summary of the dream theories. I'm going to show this screen for a minute and then I'm going to move on. You can pause the video if you want to read this. Oh, nope, that's the end of the slideshow. Okay, I thought there was more. All right, that's it. So if you have any questions about sleep, see me in class. Otherwise, this video should prepare you for the AP exam. You might want to read over your notes, make sure everything is there. All right, have a good day.